What is up, besties? We are back. We've got a new age. We've got a new name. We're in a new era, and we're starting strong with the solo podcast. I have so much to say, but before I say anything, welcome to Off the Rails with Morgan. Guys, I turned 30, and I know everyone's probably a bit confused. Like, I thought you were the internet best friend, your internet bestie, and now we're coming back with a new name. So I'm going to give you a brief little explanation. If you're new here, hi, hello, welcome. This is not going to make any sense to you. If you are a previous listener, I used to have Your Internet Best Friend podcast. We did 2 seasons. It was great. It was fun. You know what I've learned? Life is a learning experience. We change, we evolve as people. And as I turned 30, one, my mental health went into the toilet. I had many a breakdown. A lot of things I realized, and I just said, I think I need to change the name of the podcast. I feel like, well, yes, I do consider myself an internet best friend, and you guys are my besties. I will continue to call you my besties. I just felt like I wanted to change directions as I turned 30. I feel a little more mature. I feel like I've got a different direction in my life, and honestly, I just feel messier, and I just felt like the internet best friend was a bit safe, a bit kind, calm, collected, and everything about what I'm feeling right now as I enter my 30s is just a hot mess, for lack of better terms. So I said, you know what? I feel like going off the rails. And that's what we're going to name this podcast, because we're going to talk all things life, the good, the bad, the unhinged. I want to take you through it all. And I want you guys as listeners to realize we're all a little off the rails. Look, I can interview the most put together people. I can be the most put together person in, if you're watching this, my very cute pink blazer and bedazzled belt. But guess what? You might see me or hear this beautiful angelic voice and think, wow, this girl has her shit together. Well, guess freaking what? I don't, because I actually just got home from Texas, where I spent the 48 hours crying on my couch to my mom and dad, because I don't know what to do with my life. I don't know what I want. I don't know where I want to live. I don't know what to do with my dating life. I don't know what to do with my career. All I know is I'm 30 now. That's it. That's all I've got. I've got a number. So hopefully this podcast resonates with some of you that, look, we're all just like a hot freaking mess express. So that is the gist of the new name and the new brand, but the same old freaking Morgan. Let's dig into, I feel like I owe you guys many stories. I took a break on the podcast, so a little refresher. The last podcast episode, I had gotten back from a trip to Australia. I was just so smitten with a man. I had talked about that I was off the market, and then I disappeared. And so much has happened in my life since then. I cut my hair. We don't know, like, would you call these bangs? I don't know. We've got a curtain bang situation going on. Thankfully I didn't go full bang, because I don't think that would have been cute, but we cut our hair. I had the craziest month of my whole entire life. And that's probably why my mental health plummeted. I learned very quickly that traveling for a month straight and being in multiple time zones and going to multiple festivals and trying to put on a happy face and do everything all at once was not in my best interest. It was fun, but it was just very, very difficult. So let's just recap everything. I know everyone wants to hear about Coachella. I know people want to know about my trip to Australia. We had Stagecoach. Actually, I'm going to go through the month of April. It's now May. I've got a birthday to go over. So starting at the beginning of April, I went on a family vacation to Hawaii. Then from there, I flew directly to Coachella. In the middle of going to Coachella, I somehow made it to my friend's wedding, went back to Coachella, went to LA, flew across the world to Sydney, flew back, then through, I don't know where I went, back to California, then to Nashville, then back to another festival, and then I lost my damn mind is what you need to know. So let's just recap some of it, okay? But before I get into like this whole recap, I want to start all of these podcasts with just like my most current off the rail thought. Because there's a lot in this old brain of mine. Just there's so much shit going on at all times. So I want to talk about it. Also, I know I can read your mind. You're like, wait, Morgan, aren't you coming out with a hat and it says unhinged and you say the word unhinged a lot? why the hell is your podcast not called the Unhinged Podcast? Well, guys, someone already took the name, okay? I did some research. It's a very popular podcast with two really cute girls. Don't go listen to it, okay? Because you're listening to this podcast and we've got to stay as your favorite. So Off the Rails, better name. It's got a little bit of a Western spin to it as a Texas gal. Anyways, whatever. It works. We're going off the rails. You know what's funny though? I was like, what do I call these people? Like, I guess I'll still call you my besties because I do consider you guys my best friends on the internet. But then I'm like, well, if we're going off the rails, am I the conductor? Am I the conductor of this train going off the rail? And then I was like, do I call them railers? That sounds so dirty. Like, what do you call, like, if I'm the conductor, what are you guys? Anyways, I know the internet is much more creative than I am. I really don't want to be like, what up, railers? That sounds so weird. So there's got to be a better name. Anyways, if you can think of one, please send me a message on the gram and let me know. Anyways, side note, my most unhinged thought or off the rails thought. Guys, I have developed, this is so weird that I'm saying this and it's going to sound totally off the walls. Does anyone know who G Flip is? She's dating Chriselle from Selling Sunset, okay? She's Australian. As we all know, I'm a sucker for an Australian accent. Like, it really is my weakness. I have developed the fattest crush on G Flip. Don't ask me why. I also like very much, like, let's clarify, I like men. I'm not like announcing something on the internet right now. I don't know why. I just have the biggest, fattest crush on Chriselle and G Flip. And if you really want to know why, I came across G Flip's cover of Cruel Summer by Taylor Swift. And I kid you not, I texted my friend Heather and I sent it to her and I said, I don't know why, but I think I'm in love. And she was like, bitch, what are you talking about? I just need everyone to know that I'm obsessed. And I just feel like G Flip would never break someone's heart. Like, G Flip just seems like a solid human. And I wish them nothing but love. I don't really know where I'm going with that story, but fat crush, if anyone would needed to know. Anyways, let's recap the month of April and all the chaos that has gone down. Hawaii was great. It was fun. I got to spend time with my family. No one really cares about my wholesome stories. But if anyone feels like going to Maui, it is my favorite place, my happy place. I will say, though, I want to touch on this. The last time I was in Maui, I had just been cheated on. I got out of a serious relationship. I found out the literal day before I went on the family vacation in Maui. My family goes on one trip every single year. The day before, I found out that the guy I was dating brought home a girl, slept with her, whatever. That news, we all know that story by now. I don't need to recap it, but I found out right before and I was crushed. I was heartbroken. I was sobbing. I had nothing but sad memories attached with Maui. So it was the most refreshing, wonderful feeling going back to a place that held so much sadness for me, getting to go back 3 years later as a healed person, a different person, a whole person, just someone who is so confident. Well, I am confident with who I am, but I'm just going through a bit of a life crisis. So I don't want to lie to y'all, but I'm like confident-ish. So it's just a great feeling. So if you're listening to this and you have gone through a hardship in a place that once brought you happiness, I'm telling you right now, one day you're going to go back and everything is going to make sense. Like, I can't make a lot of promises in my life, but that I can actually promise you. So hold on to hope. Take it from me. I was able to go back. I laughed. I smiled. All the good things. I didn't think about that situation a single time. In fact, when I did think about it, I laughed because I was like, that was silly. That was a silly time in my life for me to cry over a giant man-child. But we have moved on. So Hawaii was great. From there, I went to Coachella. Guys, I love Coachella. Just kidding, I don't. I'm sorry, I can't lie. It's just not, like, Coachella's aggressive. Coachella's just, it's for the cool people. Like, if you think of cool in the dictionary, I don't think you think of my face. It was actually an honor because White Claw reached out to me as an influencer, which is just a massive brand. And you know what is crazy? Vision boards work, okay? Because at the beginning of the year on my vision board, I put that I wanted to work with a major alcohol brand tell me you're an alcoholic without telling me you're an alcoholic. Just kidding. I'm really not. I do love a good tequila moment though. So I'd put on my vision board that I want to work with a big brand, preferably tequila. Lo and behold, because I run my mouth on the internet so much, and I talk about my love for tequila so much, White Claw reached out to me to help promote their new tequila drink. So I was honored. I was like, hell yeah, I'll go to Coachella in the middle of like also needing to go to my friend's wedding and also flying across the world to Sydney. But Coachella was dandy. It was full of a bunch of really cool people that took one look at me and said, why are you here? And I said, I don't really know. But so that was fun. What is wild though, guys, and I don't know how I made this work. I say yes to things, and I have learned now that we don't need to say yes to everything. We're entering our 30s, and we are allowed to say no to some things. But look, I will learn that lesson eventually. So I said yes to everything because I am Superwoman and I can do it all, even though sometimes when I do it all, it leads to many a mental breakdown. So in the middle of like Coachella, I also somehow went to the festival, got my content for the brand, came back, Ubered 3 hours with the strangest Uber driver I've ever encountered, made it to my friend's wedding in La Jolla from Indio, saw her walk down the aisle, said my hellos, partied a little bit, took a few shots, got my ass back in the Uber, 3 hours back to the festival to wake up the next morning to show up to the brunch that I was supposed to be at with the brand. Anyways, legitimately, it was by the grace of God I was able to make all of that work, because had one thing gone wrong, shit would have hit the fan. It would have been really bad. So lucky girl syndrome. I am lucky. Everything is working in my favor. I swear to God, if you repeat that time and time again, look, Delulu is the Salulu. It either really works or you'll just become so delusional that somehow in your mind, you'll believe that everything is working for you. So that was Coachella. From Coachella, this is what everyone wants to know about. I went to Sydney again, because as you know, we call him on this podcast Hot Aussie. He's still hot and he's still very Australian with an accent. So I went there and I got to visit with him again. And I want to touch on going to Sydney, and then I'll kind of touch on afterwards, because I'm going to try and be transparent on this podcast. But at the same time, in this new era of me, I have realized through a lot of therapy that I've gone to in the past couple of weeks, like, I don't owe the internet anything. And my biggest struggle with this is I often feel like I do. And I kind of forget that everything that I say stays on the internet. And I only make my life harder by speaking on things, and I speak in order to heal, but it complicates my feelings, my thoughts, and emotions. Anyways, I'll get into that. So I went back to Sydney. Tell me why every time I fly to Sydney, it is just some kind of chaos fiasco. I have been deplaned more than anyone on the planet Earth. Like, tell me why I'm sitting down on this plane, and for the last 3 times I've been on an airplane, someone comes on and they go, you got to get off the plane. And I'm like, why? One time is they ran out of fuel. Okay, how does that happen? This time they're like, yeah, I don't know. We've got like there's a blinking light. Something's happening. There's a light blinking. We can't turn it off. Get off the plane. So it was the most stressful. Okay, I don't think I ended up leaving LAX. This is after I had gone to Coachella all day Sunday, left Sunday evening at like 5 p.m. the festival, got straight in the car in my cute little festival outfit, boho skirt, denim vest, all the things, drove my ass 2 hours to LAX, rolled up, changed out of my Coachella outfit into my comfy clothes to fly halfway across the world, only to be delayed and not leave until 3 in the morning. But we made it to Sydney. You know what I've realized? Like, I love Sydney. If you guys have not been there, it is truly a magical place. And what was great about this trip is I was able to go there and look, I did the touristy things in my first trip to Sydney. We did the bridge and the trips and the beaches and all that. And this time I actually wanted to hang out with Hot Aussie and just chill. Like, just hang out, sit on the couch. We binge watched Love is Blind. We got takeout. It was just nice to hang out and be a normal couple. So that was fun. And then I flew back. Now, as much as I want to say, like, things are great. And I have an idea of the future. I literally don't. It's complicated. Distance is hard. And that is the only answer I have. This person is very much still in my life. And the only answer I can give is it's complicated. And it'll probably be complicated. And I don't owe anyone else an answer beyond that because I'm just trying to figure it out myself. I can say that I've never felt this way about a human. Yeah, I can talk about, like, that's an honest to God truth. I think everyone could see it when I posted photos there, just like how happy I was. I was at ease. I was confident. I was secure. That is wonderful to live in La La Land. But the reality is we live in two different places and have a bunch of shit we have to figure out. And that's that. And that is all I have on the hot Aussie one. Cue Avril Lavigne's Complicated. Oh my God, that describes the situation perfectly. Anyways, guys, I'm going to take it day by day. With my schedule and the other person's, I don't know when I'll get to go back, but that's that. I will say though, I want to do a little side note, because I don't want to just spew my life on this podcast episode. There are very important things that need to be discussed when it comes to world news, and that is the Tortured Poets Department album. Taylor Swift. That came out when I was in Sydney, and I'm not kidding. I listened to it 10 times in a row. So not like anyone cares, but I'm going to just debrief what I think about that. One, let me tell you about the mental breakdown that I had that I've talked about in this podcast simply because I'm turning 30 and I don't know what to do with my life. Okay, we're doing that. Let's talk about Taylor Swift, who is dating an NFL player, who is going on world tours, who somehow released an album, not just one album, a double album. 2 hours later, it's like, plot twist, here's another X amount of songs. She also somehow was able to make it to Coachella like a normal human, having the old time of her life. Do we think Taylor Swift has mental breakdowns? Like, I actually need to know if this woman, part of me is like, she's got to be in the Illuminati. She's not a real human. Because how does somebody do all of that? Now, okay, we'll say if I had a team of people and I was a billionaire, my life would be a little easier. Like homegirl sleeping on a king-size bed on her private jet. I am sitting in a middle seat in economy for free. So that's okay. But let me just rank my top Tortured Poets Department songs because I think everyone needs to know. Number one on your list should be Florida. Hands down, I'm sorry. The best song, you cannot listen to that and not think it is an actual banger. Please visualize Taylor Swift coming out. I'm just setting the scene for you guys. She's on stage. She comes out. I'm thinking drums and for some reason a downpour of rain. She's at this point soaking wet. She's now playing on the drums. There's water going everywhere. Anyways, it is hands down the best song. I will not argue with anyone. Now, let's talk about The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. Oh my God. I listened to that and she's so good. Taylor Swift has an art of being so incredibly petty, but doing it in such a classy way. I don't understand how this woman does it. That is the saddest song ever, but is also at the same time so empowering. And all I need to know is this man. Actually, do we know who she wrote it about? Matt Healy? It's got to be Matt Healy, right? Okay. Anyways, I should know who she wrote that about. Whoever she wrote that song about, we need to check on, is this man okay? Because I simply would not be. Imagine waking up one morning, you're having your cup of coffee, all is well in the world, and you find out Taylor Swift has written a song about you, and it is called The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. I am changing my name. I'm moving to Europe. And I'm starting fresh if I was this guy. But it is so good. And let's talk about the level of mastermind. Okay, well, it's about one of her exes. But the mastermind that is Taylor Swift, who thinks so, oh my God, I'm obsessed with her. She put The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived, the song that is the biggest FU to apparently this man-child. And then the song right after it is The Alchemy, which is about Travis Kelce. And just for her to put two of them back to back, I'm like, oh my God, this woman is a genius. So those are three. Number 4, I Can Do It With a Broken Heart, is my literal anthem. Every single morning, those are my self-affirmations in the mirror. And then honorable mention, thank you, Amy. The woman, I love her. I literally love Taylor Swift. The fact that she wrote the song about Kim Kardashian, says there's no clues in the song about Kim Kardashian, and then capitalizes in the title K-I-M. I'm like, I strive to be Taylor Swift. Do we think, though, I'm like actually genuinely curious, you guys can message me, like Kim Kardashian, I feel like the Kardashians think all press is good press. So is she insulted? Like, I would be insulted. But then also I've gone on the internet and I was thinking people are going to be so pro Taylor about this song. Thank you, Amy. So if you're new here, I guess there was some kind of beef between Taylor Swift and Kim Kardashian back whenever the whole Kanye, Beyonce deserved this award situation. I want to say, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, I actually don't know, I might be making this up, that Kim Kardashian leaked a phone call of Taylor Swift without her permission. Something like that. Anyways, apparently it really hurt Taylor. And then for Taylor to make this song basically calling Kim out, saying, thank you because you actually helped me heal and become this iconic legend billionaire. And it was all because of your shitty actions. I'm like, damn, that is a giant blow. But someone should check on Kim. Someone should check on Kim. I mean, the line in the song of like, your kid is going to come home singing the song that I know is about you and I, and only you and I know it's about us. I'm like, oh my God, like genius. She is, Taylor Swift can do no wrong. Anyways, honorable mention, if you really want to just absolutely bawl your literal eyes out, The Prophecy. Listen to The Prophecy. I feel like for any girl who has just maybe felt like they're not enough or has been in a relationship where they've tried so hard just to come up a little bit short. Oh my gosh, my sister, I was unfortunately at the nail salon and she was like, dude, you should listen to The Prophecy. My nails were getting done, so I hit play and I couldn't touch my phone. So it just was repeating The Prophecy 21 times, literal tears in my eyes. I had to apologize to Becky, my nail artist, like 25 times. She was like, are you okay? And I was like, it's fine. I'm just listening to The Prophecy by Taylor Swift on repeat. We're fine. Anyways, that was a side note of somehow we got off the topic of Australia. But pro and a con, I love Sydney. The con is every single time I listen to the Tortured Poets Department, I think of Sydney. So if things go south, that album will forever be ruined for me. But you know what? Taylor Swift has a song for everyone. I'm sure she'll come out with an album that specifically relates to Sydney and something bad happening. Who knows? Let's move on to freaking Stagecoach. Guys, this month, I'm literally tired thinking about it. Okay, so I go Stagecoach. That is fun. I had 2 days in between to get my shit together. Here's the problem. I didn't have my shit together. I was masking all of the chaos and feelings and emotions in my life with a smile, booze, and lack of sleep. So went to Stagecoach. If you guys have not gone to Stagecoach before, it is hands down the best time ever. It is my favorite weekend of the year, except the jet lag and the lack of sleep did affect me a little bit. And I think, so after Stagecoach, I talked pretty openly on my Instagram stories. I just hit a freaking wall. I was tired. I was exhausted. My anxiety was spiraling absolutely out of control to where I just hit a breaking point. And I don't recommend that actually. I don't think going to a festival and ignoring all of these feelings, and instead of maybe getting sleep and eating a well-balanced meal and journaling and all the things, instead I was crushing double tequila sodas and screaming at the top of my lungs to Nickelback. I don't think that was necessarily the best thing, but let's just recap freaking Stagecoach, because there's always an issue with Alex Willett, my sister and I. So we're at this festival. So it's all of us. There's 12 people in a house. So much fun. Great times. Day one, of course, we're having a good old time. And all of a sudden, we can't find Alex. We've got the gang. We're ready. I don't know who we're waiting to see, but Alex is nowhere to be found. And then at some point, we lose our friend Heather. We're searching for probably an hour for Alex Willett. Turns out Alex has just been chilling in a porta-potty. She literally just locked herself in a porta-potty. I don't know. I'm sure it was alcohol fueled. But imagine the level you have to be at to spend 20 to 30 minutes in a porta-potty at a festival. And look, if you're like, Morgan, that's not that bad, you clearly have not been to a festival and smelt or seen the inside of a porta-potty. So finally, we locate my sister, and I was like, you can imagine, I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then I realized, I'm like, wait, she has my sunglasses. Like this is such a petty sister thing, but I had loaned her one pair of sunglasses. She lost them at the festival. We could have expected that to happen, understandably. So then I had a backup pair of sunglasses that were on my face. And I said, you know what? I'm going to be the nice, caring sister that I am. You can have these. So she said porta-potty, and I'm like, dude, where are my glasses? And she pulls them out, and all that's left on these glasses are the frames, but the lenses are not there. And I'm like, she hands them back to me, and I was like, Alex, what the hell? Like, what happened in the hour since I lost you in the porta-potty, and why do you have the frames of my glasses and no lenses? Anyways, it led to the biggest blow-up sister fight where I'm sure my friends were so annoying because for the next hour straight, all I could say was, she owes me $50 for sunglasses. And we would try to move on and be like, I don't care. Alex owes me literally, I think I did Venmo request her probably 3 times the $50 for my sunglasses. Anyways, we moved on. All was well. I just will never forget that, because if you're a sister and you're listening, you can feel the rage within your soul of if you lend your sister something and you come back, and I would have rather her just drop the sunglasses in the porta-potty. Just drop them and leave them. Don't give me the glasses with no lenses. What am I supposed to do with those? Like, I can't wear them. Anyways, my blood's boiling a little bit just thinking about that. I would like to announce that witnessing Nickelback in the flesh and blood was the highlight of my whole entire, like, if you asked me, Morgan, what was the best moment of your 29th year on this earth? I would have said being incredibly intoxicated and listening to Nickelback sing Photograph. I mean, I did shed a tear. I'm not proud. I also had to wake up the next morning, look at my Instagram story, and hated my life because I was like, oh, I would like everyone to know I fully do know the words to the Nickelback songs, but lights were on, no one was home on my Instagram story. I don't know what song I was singing, but it was not a Nickelback song, and it was fully on my story. But look, she was living her best life, and I always do get a little embarrassed because, look, when I full send it, we full send. But the difference between me and someone else full sending is I full send and post it. I full send and document my night because for some odd reason, I'm like, the world needs to see how much fun I'm having. Bitch, no, they don't. Like, literally, like, what I want to learn in my 30th year as a wise, old, hot 30-year-old, I would like to learn to latergram, to take all the unhinged content, the full sending, the fun stuff, and then you know what I should do? Let's sleep. Let's drink a liquid IV, let's pop an Advil, and let's wake up the next morning and look at the content and then post it. Instead, in the moment, I had a walkie-talkie, and I'm walkie-talkieing on my story, eating chicken nuggets for the world to see because I really thought everyone needed to see me do that. Oh my God, my credit card statement. I also posted this. Instead of buying just like a tequila soda like a normal person would at Stagecoach, you can get double tequila sodas, which essentially is a cup of lighter fluid. It is a cup of lighter fluid with a splash of water and a squeeze of lime. And our whole entire group were like double doubles. The whole weekend we're like meaning double doubles, but 2 in, like 1 in each hand. So I essentially had just like 2 cups of tequila, and wasn't drinking water, wasn't eating anything. Why was I anxious? I don't know. I could maybe pinpoint the root of all that. Anyways, Nickelback was the highlight of my whole entire life. And I also learned that the song of the summer and the song that everyone needs to go listen to, I don't know if you've heard of Shabuzi. He's on the block, on the country scene. There's a song called A Bar Song. And I'm not going to sing it because I can't sing. No, I'm not. I thought about it. I'm not going to do it. But anyways, is the best song. So this is actually during Diplo, but another night I skipped Miranda Lambert. Don't come for me. I know Reba came out with her. Skipped the headliner at Stagecoach because I felt the need to be front row for Diplo at a country festival. Don't ask me why. I also, anytime I have a sip of alcohol, I think that Diplo is the hottest man on the planet Earth. And then I sober up and I'm like maybe if you squint, like he's kind of attractive. Anyways, I was like, I've got to see this man in the flesh. So we're there, Diplo, front row. Again, at this point, if anyone wants to know, I don't know why I become a degenerate when I go to Stagecoach, but they don't pat down your boots. So if you want to sneak booze in, all you have to do is shove in your little boots. You put a mini bottle on all four sides, and then lo and behold, you forget about it, and then your night is made at the end of the night when you have lukewarm mini bottles of tequila to consume right before Diplo comes on. Anyways, this man Shabuzi comes on. The song comes on. I'm sitting on my friend's shoulders, and I actually am documenting this all on my Instagram story. You would have thought Taylor Swift came out on stage by the reaction of me screaming at this man called Shabuzi walking across the stage. I don't really understand why, but it really was the highlight of my whole entire existence. What else happened at Stagecoach? God, it all makes sense. My spiral, my anxiety, it makes sense because it only got more stressful. The weekend was fine. By day 3, I had no voice. I was coughing up dirt. I was disgusting. I hadn't washed my hair. I was matted and gross and dirty and not proud. Whatever, but I had a great time. And that's all that matters. Look, we get to be unhinged. We get to go off the rails. Maybe I should learn to stop posting about it. And guess what? Life goes on. You had a great time. Chalk it up to amazing memories. But then I was like, I need to get the hell home. And I do this every single festival where I book a flight originally. I'm like, I'll wake up 3 p.m. I'll go to brunch with my friends. I'll hang out. And then no, I woke up. It was actually the night before and I said, I got to get the hell home. So I changed my flight last minute to go from LAX at 10 a.m. on Monday. We got back Sunday night. And I was going to ride with my friends to LAX. It was a direct flight to Nashville. I said, what could possibly go wrong? Plot twist. My life is a never-ending cycle of things that go wrong. It's honestly comical. So we wake up the night before. It was like, oh, it's a 2.5-hour drive. You'll get there. We had like 2 hours to spare. We wake up in the morning. In fact, there's nothing worse than being woken up out of a sleep and someone being like, you got to get up right now. We got to go. And I was like, what? There was a wreck. Something happened where essentially the time had doubled to get back to LAX. So essentially I looked and I was like, I'm missing my flight. I don't know why I'm trying. So I pile in the car, cram all my shit in the bag. I have never been more stressed out in my life. And at this point, I'm starting to panic. I'm telling the driver, I was like, dude, I cannot miss this flight. I'm actually not proud of the traffic laws that we broke. In order to get to LAX, this man is in a rental car. And, there's like the HOV line and there's like cones in between. He's full on just running the cones over. He was like, we got to skip traffic, all this. The time keeps going up. It keeps going up. At this point, I was like, I had to check a bag. We pull up to LAX after going. I really hope my mom does not listen to this. Mom, I promise I was wearing my seatbelt. But like desperate times calls for desperate measures with this man should have been arrested for his driving. We pull up to LAX. I drop my bag off the literal minute as they are closing. Anyways, lucky girl syndrome. I swear on my life it does work because I was able to get on that plane. I had 2 cowboy hats on my head. I've never looked worse in my whole entire life. I also was sitting next to like probably a pretty attractive guy, but I was so embarrassed. I was like, I literally can't even look. Anyways, all you need to know is I made it home. And if you think my month stops there, it doesn't. The very next day after that, I have, by the way, no voice. Like it's a miracle that I can speak now because I was like, I for sure have damaged my vocal cords by consuming so much alcohol and screaming at the top of my lungs. The very next day, this is a Nashville thing. I had to record a music video with Mitchell Tenpenny. So random. It's so Nashville. I actually feel like I can check that off my Nashville bucket list. But I got this email from my team like, do you want to be in a music video with Mitchell Tenpenny? And I was like, yeah, because my life is weird and that just seems like something I should do. The very next day after the chaos, I had to show up. I am meeting Mitchell. I'm playing the role of his ex-girlfriend in this music video. And the whole entire concept, the music video is out by now, so you guys should be able to go see it, is he's, I guess, in an electric chair, and he's having all these flashbacks. And as he's dying, he thinks about me, yours truly. But I had to meet him, and I literally had no voice. And I was like, I'm so sorry that this is who you hired to be in your music video. But it's fine. It turned out well. And then I spiraled a bit, and I had a complete panic attack and had to go home. And you know what, guys? There's just something about, I don't care what age you are. I don't care where you are in your life. Sometimes you just need to fly home and be with your parents and lay in bed and let your mom rub your back and pet your hair and tell you that it's all going to be okay, because that's what they're there for. And no matter the age, it never gets old. But to wrap up this podcast, it's not all sunshines and rainbows. And as much as I want to enter my 30s being like 30, flirty, and thriving, I'm going to say 30, flirty, and kind of thriving, because I am excited for this new chapter. I know your 30s hold so much excitement, and I'm trying to listen to everyone. But I also think it's really freaking normal to have no clue what to do with your life and to enter a new chapter and be freaking terrified, because that's where I'm at right now. I'm so blessed. I'm so lucky. I have so much going for me. I'm very well aware of that. But I also am so insanely scared, worried, stressed about this new chapter. And look, I'll preach till the end all be all, to trust the process, to believe in your journey. It's all happening for a reason, but that doesn't mean it's any easier. I really, in a perfect world, I would change my name. Then I couldn't do this podcast, but whatever, I really would. I would change my name. I would move to Europe, and I would just, no one would know who I am. But at the same time, I love getting to connect with people, and I do love my job, so I don't want you guys to think that. But look, I'm just going through it. I'm going through a bit of an identity crisis. I'm just trying to figure out what exactly I want. And right now, I don't know what I want. And that's okay. And if you're listening to this and you can relate, I hope you can find peace that I can show up on the internet and talk about it and not sugarcoat it, because it's really freaking frustrating when people are like, oh my God, it's a new age and aren't you excited? And it's like, yeah, I am excited, but I'm also emotional. I'm just emotional and I'm stressed out. And I think a lot of it is I spent all of my 20s having this idea of what I wanted from life. I thought I wanted marriage. I thought I wanted kids. I thought, especially last year, if you've been listening to the podcast since the beginning, I moved to Nashville thinking I was going to find this cowboy and settle down and have babies. And now I'm like, completely transparent, guys, I don't even know if I want to stay in Nashville. I just don't know. Some days I wake up and think this is where I'm supposed to be. And some days I'm like, maybe I'm supposed to be in a different country. Maybe I'm supposed to go travel abroad. I don't freaking know. All I know is it's terrifying being 30 and not having a clue, especially when I'm surrounded by so many people who, look, social media is a liar, but you see people getting married and engaged and all these things, and it's just really hard to not compare and to wonder, am I on the right path? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? I don't freaking know. And I think that's the main reason I wanted to change the name of the podcast. Is let's go freaking off the rails. Let's talk about the shit. Let's just get into it, because we're all a bit messy. And guys, as I spiral and tangent and I overthink, because now I'm thinking back on this first episode and I'm like, I freaking hate it. I want to can it. Whatever, I'm going to release it anyways, because I do think my unfiltered thoughts are the most relatable, and we don't have to be perfect people here. I just want to let everyone know that we're in this together. If you're just turning 30 and you're relating to me, I hope you keep listening, because I think it'll only get better. I'm sure my stories will only get better. And look, I started this podcast as a 29-year-old in Nashville, not having a clue, and now I'm a 30-year-old still in Nashville, still not having a clue. So maybe by 31, we'll have a clue. And if we don't, guess what? That's part of freaking life. But at the end of all these podcasts, I want to try to answer some listener cues and give you my advice, even though you're listening to this and you're like, your advice? Your life is a mess. I'm not taking advice from you. Guess what? I'm going to give you some unwarranted advice because you guys do ask me. So someone messaged me and they said, how do I work on not caring what other people think? And I think as I enter 30s, I just posted this actually on my Instagram. It's like the last fuck, sorry, pardon my French mom, the last fuck I had to give literally went out the window. And I will say that is the beautiful thing I feel like about getting older is you just stop caring. And it's such a wonderful, freeing feeling where like now when people message me rude shit, I'm going to post it. You know what? You're going to message me mean stuff. I'm going to post it. I'm going to post your handle. And that is what it is. Sorry about it. Look, I just don't care anymore. And I think it takes a certain, I don't know, you go through enough where it's just easier to not give a shit. But I would say like my best piece of advice for someone who is, you can't show up on social media or you're worried about what people think or whatever it may be is just remember like at the end of the day, you're going to make yourself happy. So you can live to please others, but guess what? There's always going to be another person to please. You might be able to make some people happy and there's going to be more who are always unhappy. They're always going to have something to say about what you do. So you might as well do whatever the hell that you want. And like, for example, a lot of people are like, aren't you embarrassed going in public taking pictures? And my answer is always like, no, not in the slightest. I literally could care less, mainly because I've done it for so long. But look, there's 7 billion people on the planet Earth. Like, you are one. Like, let that sink in. 7 billion people. You are one. You are a little tiny dot in a massive sea. Like, honestly, it sounds bad, but people don't remember anything that you do. Like, you can go down the street. Maybe don't do this. You'll get arrested. But like you could go down the street naked if you wanted to, screaming Taylor Swift at the top of your lungs. And yeah, people might post you on the internet and then maybe people remember. But most people be like, damn, that girl's crazy. And then they're going to move on with their day and they're not going to care. So I really do just think at the end of the day, like it's not that serious. So that's my advice. If you care about what people think, it's not that serious. And then the next question people ask, and I'll wrap it up with this because I feel like this ties into a new age and a new era and all the things, is self-love tips. My top self-love tips. And I'm going to say this mainly because I probably need to work on this a little bit right now in my life. My top self-love tips. 1, this is actually a good one. And I take your own advice. Morgan, take a break. Just take a freaking break. You deserve it. I don't think it's anything to be ashamed about. I think the best way to love yourself is to pause and realize I need to go away for a bit. And if that means turning off your phone, that means putting it on do not disturb, that means flying home to be with your family and cry a little bit, you absolutely deserve it. Self-love tip number 2 is do something that you actually like enjoy. I say you should do one thing every single day that you genuinely enjoy. Like for me, I take a Pilates class. Like I always carve out at least an hour to do something for me, especially for my moms out there. I feel like you guys do not do that nearly enough. Like you are equally as important as your family, your partner, all that. So like the biggest piece of self-love is taking some time every single day for you. And then my last piece of self-love, this is a good one. My therapist actually just told me this. Self-affirmations. Like we're so mean to ourselves. Like, I can't tell you the amount of times I look in the mirror and I'm like, you look so bad today. Okay, that's like really rude. But like some days you have days where you're just like, what is going on with your face? Anyways, it happens. But it really like your brain believes what you tell it. So if you can look in the mirror and be like, I don't know, sing I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. If you don't know some self-affirmations, literally just sing the chorus of Taylor Swift's I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. And there you go. You have your morning affirmations. But tell yourself you're beautiful. Tell yourself you can do it. Like something I say literally all the time when I'm struggling is I can and I will and I always do. Like I just repeat it time and time again because you've gotten through all the hard shit. Like you're standing here today. So you can and you will and you always do. So look, we're entering our 30s. We're in a new era and we are loving ourselves through the good and the bad and everything off the rails. And guys, I'm sweating in this blazer. So like I'm going to wrap up this episode, but Thank you so much for listening. Welcome back to season freaking 3. I'm excited to see where this goes. I have no clue where this is going to go, but we've got some fun guests in the mix. And thank you for following along with my crazy journey as a new 30-year-old. Stay tuned because I have so much to recap. I want to go over my 30 off the rails things I've learned by 30. And I just had a big, dirty 30 birthday bash in Vegas, and I know some shit went down. So we'll recap that soon. I don't have an outro yet because I haven't gotten that far in my life, but I'll see everyone next week. Bye, guys. Thanks so much for listening to Off the Rails podcast. It's been real, it's been unhinged, and I'll see everyone next week. In the meantime, do all the podcast things, like, listen, leave a 5-star review, and catch up with me on socials at Off the Rails with Morgan. Bye.